Okay, so now that we have imported the project into SCS, we have it running, we have the JUnits running, we would take some time to actually write some code that will be the index page for the application. So we'll kind of break it down into two subsections. One will do the server-side code, write a simple controller, and then the next section we're going to do some light UI changes, make it look a bit fancy than what it is, right? So let's head over to the Spring SGS. The first thing that I want to do is, in order for us to do test-driven development, we can use a tool that shows the coverage for the code. So I have already got the link of the update side. It's called ECLEMMA, and you can go to the help, click on install new software, put in the eclemma.org and just add it, and you can call it eclemma. Go ahead and say OK and click select that, say next, and go ahead and accept the agreement and go ahead and do finish. So this should install the software. It might ask you to restart. Go ahead and do the restart now. Okay, so it's still restarting. So once it restarts, we're going to start with creating a simple controller that would be serving the home page of our application. So as this is coming up, let's make sure we can get to the full screen mode. And if I now right click on test and I click on coverage as JUnit test, it will make sure that it will show which classes have the coverage available. So the overall coverage for DevOps is 29.2%. Let's take a look at, it's got 0% on that and 37.5% on the application, right? So some of the code is difficult to cover. We're not going to go into the testing, but now we have the coverage tool installed. So the first thing that we're going to create is a new package called devops.web. And we're going to do the same thing within the test because we're going to write a test for our controller. So devops.web. Okay, so once we have that, let's go ahead and do a new class. I'm going to call it welcome controller. Okay, and it's going to go ahead and do the same thing here. Actually, we'll hold on creating the test class. The reason that we want to at least have one method so we can create automatic generation of the test method for the controller. Okay, so it's a controller, and all it's gonna have is a simple method called welcome, and you're gonna pass it a model which would be used to carry the data on the response. Okay, and it's going to return a view called index, right? So it's a model, it's going to return a view called index, and we're going to add a model add attribute and send across an attribute name called course. Give it the course of DevOps. Okay, so where should this be available? It should be available at the root of the application, right? So we now have a controller that is going to serve the home page of our application. So what page that it's going to send the request to. It's going to send it to index. So let's go ahead and create a simple index HTML, and we'll dress this up later, but let's create something simple for now. And HTML, open and close, give the head tag, and give the body and a h1 here. Welcome to the DevOps course, right? If we want to add a title, let's go ahead and do that here. DevOps, right? So a simple HTML, all it's got is a static HTML for now. Okay, so let's go ahead and create the JUnit test case. And the reason I held up was we wanted to use this opportunity where you can specify the class and the test, right? Or it is welcome controller. And I do next, it will allow me or show me the methods that I would want to test. Okay, so we have the controller, we have the index HTML, and we have the controller test. So let's finish up the testing of the controller, and we are going to use the Spring JUnit for class .class, and we're not going to cover too much about testing, right? Because this is focused around the DevOps, and we'll add the web app configuration. Right, so my test is set up. I want to inject a mock MVC to be able to mock the request, and I want to also get the web application context auto wired in for the test, right? And I want to do the setup for the mock MVC. So void setup. I would have to throw the exception because we're going to do the mock MVC setup. So here I'm going to use the mock MVC builders dot web application context and give it the context, and then do the build, right? So, and when do I want to run this? I want to run it before every test. Okay, so I have the test, and let's go ahead and actually write the real test, right? So when I do use the mock MVC, I perform what kind of request it would be. It would be a get, and it would be to the root, right? And what do I expect? I expect that I'm going to get a status of 200, right? Is a status of 200. So let's go ahead and add the static import. Go ahead and do that. It's still waiting for some additional static imports. Go ahead and do that. And we'll add the throwSync declaration. So let's go ahead and run this. And I should get back a success on the test, right? And you can change the test. So here, not only I can say and expect, not only I can say I get a 200 response, but I also expect the model to contain an attribute of course that contains string of DevOps, right? So not only I'm saying that I expect a 200, I also expect a response model that has a value, that has an attribute of course that has a value of DevOps. So let me go ahead and run the test, and it is 100%. And if I do the coverage for this controller that I just wrote, I should see 100% coverage. And if you notice, yes, my controller is covered 100%. So let me go ahead and run the app, and let's see what we see at the home page, right? So I'm running the app. It has already started. Let me just go to the home page here, and it's 8088, and I should see the welcome to the DevOps course. Now there's one small tweak before we actually get in and modify the index.html, is I want to be able to make change to the index.html without actually restarting the server. So Spring provides developer tools dependency that you can just go to Spring Tools, Spring Boot developer tools. You can copy that dependency. Go ahead and stick this in your POM XML. And that should take care of downloading the dependency. I'm going to stop the server, and I'm going to restart the server here, and it's up and running. I'm going to go back in here, and it's up and running. Let me go ahead and change the index HTML and add test. Go back in here, and it's test, right? So now I have the flexibility of making the change without actually stopping my server.